Karnataka, Siddaramaiah, for the first, has reacted and breaking his silence. Siddaramaiah now speaks on those protests, saying we'll take action against those vandals. Can't talk about law. In fact, he says the Kannada Rakshana Vedike cannot take law into their own hands. And if there's a crime that's been committed, then we will ensure that they are taken into custody. Action will be taken accordingly. Here's what Siddaramaiah says in a first reaction coming in from the Congress government in the state.
ಬಂದಿದೆ ನನಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡಕ್ಕೆ 60% ಕನ್ನಡ ಫಲಕ ನಾಮಫಲಕಗಳಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಗಲಾಟೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ. ಯಾರೇ ಕಾನೂನು ಬಾಹಿರುವ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಕಾನೂನು ಕೈಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ.
ಅದು ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಕೊಡುವ ಹೋರಾಟಗಳು ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು. ನನ್ನ ವಿನಂತಿ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತಿದೆ. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಕಾನೂನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕಾನೂನು ರೂಪ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ 2 ಅಧಿವೇಶನದೊಳಗ ಬಿಲ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಯಾರು ಕಾನೂನನ್ನ ಕೈಗೆತ್ತಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಮಾಧ್ಯಮಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಏನಿದೆ ಆಸೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಳ್ಳಪರ ಸಂಘಟನೆ ಏನು ಆಸೆ ಇದೆ ಅದು ಇಲಾಖೆಗಳು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ.
All right, that was the Kannada Culture Minister, Thangadi, who's just spoken, saying that it is a law that there should be 60% Kannada and 40% English or another language, but law cannot be taken into one's own hands. There should be law and order that prevails. Then those who have indulged in this kind of vandalism, the pro-Kannada activists, specifically the Kannada Rakshana Vedike, must be taken into custody for indulging in such violence. Now, we saw a little earlier today how the Kannada Rakshana Vedike went on a complete rampage, bringing down those signboards. Despite having Kannada signboards on the side, the English signboards were targeted. They were smashed. Customers who were inside many of those stores were heckled. And this is what grabbed most of the scenes right from the start of the day in Bengaluru. Many of those nameplates were also sprayed in black ink, those that were written in English. Let me take you through exactly what transpired.
Shops vandalized, luxury stores attacked. Language activists rampage across the streets of Bengaluru days after the city's civic body slapped notices on commercial establishments to sport signages in Kannada. Karnataka Rakshana Vedika workers led by Narayana Gowda smashed glass doors and destroyed English signboards of multiple businesses in the IT city on Wednesday.
It is very disappointing that the commercial establishments are not following the law of the land, and also government is not ready to implement the order which is passed by the government itself.
Narayana Gowda, who was later detained, declared only those who have signboards in Kannada will be allowed to do business in Karnataka.
ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮಾಡುವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಳಿಗೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯವಾಗಿ ಕನ್ನಡದ ನಾಮಫಲಕ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು, ಕನ್ನಡವನ್ನ ಬಳಸಬೇಕು. ಕನ್ನಡ ಬಳಸಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋಕೆ ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ.
Karnataka Rakshana Vedike workers have now once again decided to take law into their own hands. They've come down to the Lavil Street, which is one of the most busiest central business district places of Bangalore, and they've vandalized the most prominent shops over here, which contribute greatly, in fact, to Karnataka's economy. We have one of the most iconic fashion designer shops, Shantanu Nikhil. In fact, if you look at the image over there, the Shantanu Nikhil that is written in English, that has been taken down.
The violent protest by the KRB workers took the Bengaluru police by surprise. Authorities said they were not expecting such vandalism and assured tightened security. Earlier, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah had said that the establishments will have to comply with the Kannada signboard order before February 28. With Anagha Keshav in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
How far does this kind of vandalism there in the name of saving Kannada language and culture hurt brand Bengaluru. We're so proud of Bengaluru being the global IT hub and many other levels. It's on par with international standards. At a time like this, when Bengaluru is booming, at least the IT sector is, we're seeing the Kannada Rakshana Vedike drawing it back to the ages. Nizam Faujdar, the General Secretary and spokesperson KPCC, joining us live. We also have Prashant GS, spokesperson of the BJP Karnataka. Mohandas Pai, the chairperson of Manipal Education. He has been a tech person himself. Let me, a quick word, Nizam, since we've tried hard to get in touch with many from the Congress party in the state, haven't got a satisfactory response. How would you look at this kind of vandalism that prevailed? And not today alone, it's been happening for the last week. Kannada Rakshana Vedike people, in the name of activism and saving Kannada culture, are heckling, threatening people. While customers are inside stores, they are smashing signboards with stones and sticks and whatnot.
Okay, I think the statement by the Chief Minister of Karnataka is very clear that we will not tolerate any kind of vandalism, and we will take action on the people who are vandalizing and taking the law in their own hands. But the issue is today that Kannada is one of the oldest languages in the world. It's about 3,000 years old language, which needs to be preserved. In a very globalized environment, the regional languages get pushed back. I think the 60%
so do you
of the
believe
signage
that do you believe that businesses in Karnataka are not prioritizing Kannada? In that case, whose duty is it to conduct surveys and ensure that these business establishments adhere to rules?
I think it's the governments, and I think it's the people who live in the land of Karnataka have to also comply to such things. The Kannada is a language. I'll tell you, it's not about I saw that Kannada language of Karnataka. I was just seeing your the lines on the screen. But the issue is, the regional languages get a back seat and they get pushed back.
Precisely my question is, whose duty is it to inspect? You're in government. You're in government.
Hold on.
Do you give a loose rope? Will you give a loose rope to the Kannada Rakshana Vedike to act like police? Even police will not indulge in violence.
Nabila ji, let me hold on, let me finish. What I'm saying in an extremely hyper globalization environment, the languages take a beating. So here we are saying that the language needs to be promoted, the culture needs to be preserved. Yes, the Chief Minister has assured that anybody taking the law in their hands, we will take action against them. That if you see the action that the police has taken today, many people have been detained, and we will warn them. I don't think so.
Nizam, the only reason to why we're even holding this debate here today is because the KRV have been indulging this kind of threats and road rallies that they're cutting across Brigade Road, MG Road, Chikpete, HRBR layout. These are the areas they're going, blaring abuses on speakers. It's not the first time. So action should have been taken much earlier. You shouldn't have waited for a day like this. When you knew that this was simmering, the KRV were indulging in violence, acts of violence. There should have been prohibitory orders, especially for the KRV to come out and protest. How did they get permission to protest?
Nabila ji, everybody has the right to protest. We are not the BJP.
I'm sorry, but not in a violent manner and not...
Nabila, no.
So have you given permission? Have you given permission to the KRV to protest?
Point forward. Nabila, you will have to allow me to put my point forward. Allow me to speak uninterrupted. Then you have your right to say.
Go on, sir. Have you given the KRV permission to protest?
See, हम लोगों की आजादी को समत रखना चाहते हैं. We allow the freedom of people to voice their concerns and protest.
Sir,
we are
this
not
is
the
not
ones
voicing
of the BJP.
concerns. This is not peaceful protest.
Nabila ji, hold on.
No,
Let me finish. We have taken action. We will take action. We have taken action. We will continue to take action.
Okay,
but
we heard your point.
The people who come to Karnataka to do business will have to comply to the local
We heard you loud and clear, and I definitely want to remind our viewers here, it's not as if we're debating over whether Kannada should be priority or not. The question here is whether this method of imposing a rule put forth by the BBMP is fair. violence, threatening people, breaking their shop signboards. Is this the way with which Kannada culture can be preserved? Prashant GS, the BJP was in government for the last 5 years. If the business establishments were violating the government order, why was there no inspection and checks on these shops? You could have probably imposed a fine on them and taken them up on this.
Nabila, now instead of saying what BJP did not do or whether BBMP did not take action 2 years ago, now we have to understand the situation on the ground. This seems to be a state-sponsored event by Congress to divert attention of the people from their failures of governance. Otherwise, how on earth can Congress justify this saying this is a sort of protest? You knew it was in the offing. They were already giving veiled threats to.
Are you, Prashant, tell me,
Mr.
are you
Fauza,
against
keep
Kannada?
quiet. Now your time is up. Let me complete.
Are you against
Don't
the
interrupt.
No,
Kannada
Nizam, you got to allow him to speak. He did not interrupt you. Allow him to
I know
speak.
you can't even
Prashant,
speak.
please go on.
You can't even speak a sentence of Kannada, so please don't now lecture.
No, let's not test one another about Kannada language, please. Let's refrain from personal jibes, please. Prashant, get to the point. Nobody's testing anyone's Kannada skills here.
Nabila, let
Get
me
to the
complete.
point, Prashant.
Yes, let me complete.
ಪ್ರಶಾಂತ್
This is
ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋಣ ಬನ್ನಿ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ
Fauza, ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾತಾಡೋಣ.
I apologize, we barely have time. Let's get to the point.
ರಾಜಕಾರಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. So Nabila, I think what we have to understand is this is definitely a ploy by Congress because BJP has always stood for Kannada and Kannada pride. Now, by allowing fringe elements to vandalize business establishment and threaten businessmen, you are ensuring that future investments and brand Bangalore, what the DCM so proudly talks about, is taking a beating. Because we are talking about instilling fear in the minds of businessmen here to do business in a legal and legitimate manner. Mr. Fauzdar says it's a way of protest. Protest should be conducted outside town hall, a silent protest. They should have taken a walk. No. Instead, they take law into their own hands, break down shops, vandalize, threaten and heckle people. And now here he is there to lecture us on saying that they will take action. What action was taken? They should have detained them in a detained them in a preventive manner, considering it's an intelligence failure.
You know what? Nizam, at this point, there's no point. There is no point, Nizam, to point fingers at the BJP. Your government is in power today. It should have been the prerogative of the Congress government to ensure that they don't indulge in violence like that. And it's true. You're chasing away investment. It's true that you're chasing away customers. It's true that you're threatening people who want to do business. It's not right. And if the Kannada Rakshana Vedike has such a loose hand without any fear of repercussion, they're out and about vandalizing property, questions will be raised whether the government is backing them. I'm going to cut to straight Mohandas Pai, who is also with us. Mr. Pai, what's your view on this ongoing protest in Karnataka, especially the Kannada Rakshana Vedike trying to preserve Kannada language in this fashion?
Well, the violence that is happening is very wrong, and the government must take firm steps, including the police. The police must not allow the violence to come. The police should have been better prepared. The fact that they vandalized is very wrong. At the same time, there is a need for everybody to have a Kannada signage. It's the old rule. There's an old rule here that you need Kannada and any other language. And I think Kannada, the local language, is essential in every place. Because if you go to Bengal, you have to have Bengali and you speak the local language. Same thing in Tamil Nadu, Kerala. You go to France, you put it up in French. You go to Germany, in German. You have to respect the local language. But violence is not acceptable. Violence of any sort, any time is not acceptable. And the police seem to have not been able to control the violence, which is very wrong. The police should take steps to make sure there is no violence. All the people indulging in violence should be held up under the law. There must be rule of law and respect for the law.
Right.
At the same time, everybody needs to comply with the Kannada signage. It's a mark of showing respect for the local community where you operate. I think it's very essential for everybody.
Mr. Pai, you're saying that this is an old rule, then why? It's surely written in paper, but the implementation is dismal. We don't see 60% Kannada in most areas of Bengaluru, let alone even in Karnataka as a state, where I've traveled to several districts as well. We don't see many of the commercial areas. We don't see 60% Kannada. So do you believe that people are unaware of this rule, or do you think they're deliberately flouting it despite knowing?
No, I think there's already a rule. Those who are here, we have been doing it for a long time. There is a rule earlier, the old matter. There's a rule earlier, but in Bangalore, many people don't seem to be following it. And these organizations, once in a while, become very activist for various reasons. And they seem to become very activist now. But there is a rule. I mean, all of us have been following it in Karnataka for a long, and Bangalore for a long period of time. And I think they should follow it, and the government should also intervene. If the government has given time till February 25th for those who are not done it to do it, then I think the government has given time and they should make sure there's no violence.
Precisely what you said, sir. There's a deadline that the BBMP has given of Feb 28th for big establishments by mid of January. Even before that deadline is over, you have the KRV jumping the gun, brazenly indulging in violence.
Yes, that is very wrong. That's very wrong. I saw the video of the police standing there and not doing much to prevent. The police should have prevented. That's very, very wrong. You know, if police do not act, what are we supposed to do as citizens? There cannot be violence in society. Police should act. And the government should really act to make sure there's no violence. There's no violence, no vandalism by anybody. People have a right to protest. Protests are all okay. But you know, vandalism, violence has no place in a civilized society, has no place in Karnataka, no place in Bangalore, and governments must take tough action.
Sure enough, we are a civilized society. Nizam Faujdar, all fingers being pointed at the government of the day. The Congress government should have known this was coming. You should have ensured that there are restraining orders for the KRV. When you know that they have a tendency to indulge in violence of such nature, there should have been better measures that you should have adopted. DK Shivkumar boasts of brand Bengaluru. He is responsible for Bengaluru development. Where is he? No word from him.
No, I think Bangalore is one of the biggest brands in the world. I think we export nearly about 75 to 80% of the IT, services to the entire world. I think Bangalore is one of the best cities across, and it's reckoned with. Now, in the same breath, right? When the city is growing at its a rapid pace, we need to make a certain things that can save the culture. I would really ask if the same kind of a debate was done when the World Bank issued a notice to the government of, in the open economy, saying that if the debt of the India keeps growing this way, it will become 100% of the GDP, which is detrimental to the country. Why didn't we have such a debate about economy? When a small
now talk about
people had a stake. Prashantji, wait.
Mr. Nizam, don't deviate.
You have taken,
please talk about various
I will talk about your failures. I will talk.
So-called champion for Bangalore development. Where is he?
To the mirror of failure. I will continue to voice the facts and figures of your failure.
You are talking. You are not in a university lecturing students about economic.
I am telling you, your prime minister has doubled the national debt to the double level. 300 lakh crores of debt that you have taken. Is that
no. Nizam, you got to get to the point. You cannot speak of Karnataka's debt. If you are inviting business, to the state of Karnataka, then this is not going to help.
In the last 3 years,
Congress
the BJP
is
took
diverting.
3 lakh crores
Congress
of
is
debt,
diverting from
which
the
was
issue.
just about
This is their
175
mindset.
lakh crores for
You
the
are,
last 75
Nizam
years.
Faujdar, I second the BJP spokesperson here, at least that you are diverting from the issue. Do not get to Karnataka's debt. Speak about the problem at hand right now. What is the government taking? What kind of steps are you taking to ensure that Kannada is learned? In that case, what is the Karnataka government as of today? What kind of steps is Karnataka government taking to ensure that students learn Kannada, that people are able to read Kannada better, that it goes down to that people in Karnataka actually would want to learn Kannada with love and affection for the language and not with fear?
Absolutely. See, Karnataka has never had any kind of a fear of, the regionalism. We always embraced everybody from every part of the country. In fact, from the world now. There is no such dispute that we do not allow people to come here. What we are simply saying is that, yes, we are asking certain business units to comply to that 60%. They have not done it. We have issued notices, and they will do it by the end of January or by the end of February. I think
Okay.
that is okay. The
Okay,
vandalism
so
has happened.
there's a rule, there's a deadline that
We
your
need to
government has
figure out
put.
who were those
Before that
people who
rule
were
and
doing
deadline, you
vandalism.
have KRV indulging in violence. You haven't been able to control it. The onus is on you. A quick word finally
tell
from
me-
Mohandas Pai. Sir, Mr. Pai, brand Bengaluru, how does that really work out? You're inviting global businesses to Karnataka, and at a time like this, you also want to prioritize Kannada language. Where and how do you strike a balance here?
Look, government is not saying that everything has to be in Kannada only. They said you also put Kannada, you can have English, you can have Hindi, you can have French, you can have what you want, but put Kannada there. I think putting Kannada there is very important. We are in the local community, and I think those kind of rules are okay. If you go to China, which has benefited from globalization, they have Chinese. Because remember, the signage is not only for those who come from outside, it's also for people who are, locals, and I think it's necessary. So I think on that we should not have an argument. The only issue is about this violence. Violence is not okay.
I think that's something that all of us stand unanimously firm on, that we do not accept and agree with violence. Prashant, I sincerely apologize. We barely have time for that. But we've got your word. Thanks, Prashant, Nizam, and Mr. Pai for joining us on that. Well, clearly, Karnataka's Bengaluru right now is simmering. Many of the KRV activists have been detained. They've been arrested. Will action be taken? Will they ensure that something like this does not happen again? Will there be surveys and checks to ensure boards, signages comply with the BBMP rule? We're going to closely track those developments. Coming up on the other side, 6 p.m. Prime with Akshita. Congress to launch its rebranded Bharat Jodo Yatra from the 14th of Jan. Bharat Nyay Bus Yatra to start from Manipur. That will cover at least 14 states from the east to the west. Stay tuned to India Today.
धर्म तो व्यक्तिगत होता है और जिसको मानना है, जितना भी मानना हो, पूरा गिरुआ वस्त्र धारण करके पूरा रम जाए, इस पर किसी को इतराज क्यों? सबकी अपनी चॉइस है। लेकिन अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, डेवलपमेंट एक दूसरा क्षेत्र है। उसके बारे में कहा कि कोई देश बिना डेवलपमेंट के, एजुकेशन के, एम्प्लॉयमेंट के आगे नहीं जा सकता है, विकास नहीं कर सकता है।
You have built the Ram temple, very good. When will Ram Rajya come? What is Ram Rajya? Social equality, economic equality, employment. This is what people are asking. आप राम मंदिर बनाए, बहुत अच्छा है। अभी राम राज्य पे भी ध्यान दीजिए, 10 साल हो गए।
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 25 and minimum 11 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 34 and minimum 24 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 28 and minimum 16 degrees. Bengaluru, maximum 26 and minimum 17 degrees. Chennai, maximum 30 and minimum 23 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 29 and minimum 16 degrees.